Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I wasn't supposed to be home until Sunday. That was the whole point of the fishing trip. 3 days off the grid with no phone, no clients, no distractions. But when the weather turned ugly up north, I packed my gear and made the 5-hour drive back Friday evening. The house was quiet when I pulled into the driveway. Lights were on in the back, music playing, low, but not the kind Kelly usually listened to. I walked through the side gate and stopped cold. She was in the hot tub with Nathan Ellis, her so-called business partner, shirtless, drink in hand, sitting way too close. Kelly spotted me first. She didn't flinch, just looked me dead in the eye and said, "The trip ended early?" Nathan turned, smirking. "Hey man, relax. We're just catching up." "Yeah, I see that," I said. Kelly stood up, wrapped in a towel like this was her house now. "Don't do this, Kevin. It's been a long time coming." "How long?" I asked. She didn't blink. "Almost a year." I let that sit for a second. Nathan stepped out, stretched like he was trying to look bigger. "Maybe you should go cool off, tough guy, before someone gets hurt." I looked at him. "You threatening me?" He smiled. "Not yet." I wanted to swing. My fists tightened. But I've seen what happens when men react. I'd spent 10 years in naval intelligence. I knew how this worked. You never fight when angry. You watch. You remember. I looked at Kelly. "You planned this, didn't you? Waited for me to be gone?" She didn't answer. I turned and walked away. No yelling, no theatrics, just calm steps back to the truck. They thought I was broken. What they didn't know was that I was already playing the long game. She had no idea what I'd find in that house later. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my home office with a beer in my hand, lights off, just staring at the monitors. The security system had cloud backup. I pulled the last few weeks of footage. I saw Nathan's car show up more than a dozen times. Midday, late night, even once when I was gone on a training seminar. She hadn't just been careless. She'd been confident. The signs were there, now that I thought about it. Kelly started dressing differently. Expensive shoes, high-end bags. I knew she didn't buy on her real estate commission. She stopped asking me about my day, started hiding her phone screen when she texted. 3 months ago, she accidentally deleted our joint calendar, stopped syncing appointments, said it was a glitch. It wasn't a glitch. She made sure I was always the last to know when she had plans. Started taking her laptop into the bedroom, said she was working on property files. I'd hear whispers through the door, soft enough to sound like business, sharp enough to feel like secrets. But that night, sitting in that chair, I realized something else. This wasn't just infidelity. The home office was mine, technically, but Kelly had started using it more ever since I took the training assignment last quarter. She'd moved some of her files in, cluttered up the desk with listing papers and receipts. I flipped through a pile of folders, expecting the usual, property comps, mail, household stuff. But tucked in the middle was a tax form I didn't recognize, with my name on it. KC Property Solutions, it read. I was listed as the sole owner. My signature was at the bottom. Except I'd never signed it, and I'd never heard of the company. And I had just declared $212,000 in income from flipping houses I never touched. I opened our joint investment account. A large chunk of my military savings had been moved into something called Ellis Group Holdings, without any email alert or phone verification, because the transfer authorization had been set up months ago, under my name. And that's when it hit me. Kelly and Nathan weren't just cheating. They were building a case, a paper trail, one that made it look like I was behind the fraud. The affair was just a distraction. The real betrayal was still coming. I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to survive this on my own. Saturday morning, I called Melissa Cheng. We served together back in Bahrain. She was a Navy cryptanalyst, now working privately as a forensic accountant. One of the sharpest minds I'd ever known. Melissa picked up after 2 rings. She'd always had that sixth sense, knew when a call wasn't casual. Back in Bahrain, we worked signals and silent chatter. Now, years later, I needed her more than ever. I gave her everything. Bank documents, a fake tax return with my forged signature, even screenshots from my account showing money I never moved. Within 2 hours, she called me back with answers I wasn't ready to hear. I was in trouble, deep trouble. Melissa had traced 5 shell companies tied to my social security number. One of them owned 2 flipped properties in Florida. The wire transfers matched exactly with funds siphoned from my investment accounts. the ones I'd set up for retirement. Everything pointed to me. Whoever set it up hadn't been sloppy. The paper trail was smart. The digital fingerprints matched mine, forged device IDs, faked login activity, mirrored access patterns. If someone was trying to make it look like I was running a laundering operation, they'd done a damn good job. And unless I acted fast, I'd be the one wearing it. Melissa had already gone to work, setting up surveillance. She tapped into the house network. If Kelly or Nathan so much as logged into a shared folder, she'd catch it. Conversations, logins, transfers, everything would be recorded. She didn't ask why I was still living in the house. She knew me too well. I wasn't there because I was in denial. I was there because I wanted them to feel comfortable, safe, untouchable, because people get reckless when they think they've already won, and that's when they make mistakes. She had no idea the war had already started. For the next 2 weeks, I played the role she expected. When Kelly was home, I barely spoke. Just stared at the TV or sat on the porch with a blank look and a bottle in my hand. One night she came in late, around midnight, and saw me on the couch. "You should get some help," she said flatly. "This isn't healthy." I didn't respond, just nodded slowly like I agreed. That was the night she took the bait. By the next morning, Melissa pinged me. They moved another $75K to Ellis Group Holdings, used your login, same laptop, recorded everything. But that wasn't the real gift. What Kelly didn't know was that I'd installed a recorder under the desk, right where she always took her calls. A motion sensor activated it the moment she sat down. 2 days after the latest transfer, I got the file. I sat in my truck, engine off, and played it. Kelly's voice came through clearly. "He's spiraling. I told him he should check into a program or something so we can file under mental incompetence and lock the assets early. His lawyer won't even know what hit him. And once we're through court, you and I can move everything." Nathan laughed in the background. "Damn, you're cold." She replied, "He chose secrets over me. Let's see how he likes losing everything." The rest was even worse, laughing about my PTSD, mocking how the judge would eat up her story. I saved the file and backed it up 6 different ways. They thought I was crumbling. What I was really doing was building my case. I wasn't going to confront her in private. That would be too easy. No, if Kelly wanted to destroy me in court, I'd make sure everyone was there to see her fall. The court date came quicker than I expected. Kelly's lawyer, some guy named Daniel Griggs, filed fast. Emergency petition. Claimed I was mentally unstable, financially reckless, and possibly violent. They requested full control of the house, all bank assets, and even my military pension. I sat across from them in court that first day, silent, hands folded. Kelly wore all white, polished, delicate, the picture of concerned victimhood. Griggs painted me as paranoid, erratic, and potentially dangerous due to unresolved trauma from overseas deployments. I didn't flinch, just listened. Griggs held up fake bank statements, claimed I had started a property scam, then gotten overwhelmed and unstable. Said Kelly came forward to protect our finances, and herself. "I supported him for years," Kelly told the judge, her voice trembling. "But he changed. He's not the man I married." They had rehearsed that line, no doubt. The judge, a gray-haired woman named Evelyn Marks, narrowed her eyes at me. "Mr. Callahan, do you have anything to say at this time?" "Not yet, Your Honor," I said. "I'll respond in full at the final hearing. I want everything documented first." She raised an eyebrow, but nodded. "Fine. We'll reconvene for full testimony in 3 weeks." Outside the courtroom, Kelly walked right past me like I didn't exist. Nathan waited in the driver's seat of a black SUV, sunglasses on, arm hanging out the window like he owned the place. Kelly got in without a word, didn't look back. They thought they'd won already. They had no idea the recording I had in my jacket pocket, the one I'd burned them with in court, was about to flip this whole thing upside down. The house, the money, the mental incompetence strategy, that was all about to blow up. The courtroom was packed on the final day, not with spectators, but with lawyers, clerks, and 2 people who were way too confident for what was coming. Kelly sat beside her attorney in a navy blue blazer, hair pulled tight. Nathan wasn't there, but I caught a glimpse of him in the hall earlier, pacing and texting, probably waiting to hear if they'd sealed the deal. Griggs stood up. "Your Honor, we're asking for a full transfer of assets, a permanent restraining order, and exclusive ownership of the shared property. Mr. Callahan's behavior is—" I cut in. "Your Honor, I'd like to present audio evidence. It's relevant to the claims being made today." She waved her hand. "Play it." I took out the small speaker and hit play. Kelly's voice filled the courtroom. "We can file under mental incompetence and lock the assets early. His lawyer won't even know what hit him." Then Nathan's laugh. "Damn, you're cold. He chose secrets over me. Let's see how he likes losing everything." The room went dead silent. Kelly's face drained of color. She stared at the table, her breath catching. Griggs leaned toward her, whispering urgently. I let the full clip play. Every word, every laugh. The recording was just the nail in the coffin. Melissa and I had already submitted everything else. Forged tax documents, false company filings, financial transfers traced to Ellis Group Holdings. The judge had it all. The audio just made it undeniable. When it ended, Judge Marks sat completely still. Then she spoke, calm but with steel in her voice. "Mrs. Callahan, please stand." Kelly rose slowly, her hands shaking. "Your petition is denied. All claims reversed. Your accounts are hereby frozen pending an investigation into financial fraud, identity misuse, and perjury. Mr. Callahan, you retain full ownership of the house, pension, and investment." The gavel hit like thunder. Kelly collapsed back into her seat. I walked past her on my way out. She didn't look up. I didn't stop. By the time I got home, my phone was already buzzing. Melissa had sent over a screenshot. IRS audit initiated. Flagged activity linked to Ellis Group Holdings. She added a simple message underneath. "Told you they'd crumble fast." That night, Nathan was arrested at the airport. TSA flagged him carrying $30,000 in cash and a duffel bag full of burner phones. He claimed he was headed to a real estate conference in Phoenix. The FBI didn't buy it. Kelly, meanwhile, tried damage control. She called me 5 times, left voicemails crying, begging, saying she didn't mean for it to go this far. She said she was manipulated, said she still loved me. I didn't answer. By the end of the week, news broke. A local real estate journal ran a headline with her picture. "Broker linked to money laundering scandal after explosive courtroom reveal." The comments section lit up. Clients pulled listings. Her license was suspended pending investigation. A month after the hearing, life got quiet again. The house was mine. The accounts were unfrozen. Her name was scrubbed from every document she'd once tried to claim. The legal war was over, and I hadn't just survived. I'd won. But it didn't feel like a victory. Not exactly. I spent more time in the garage again, fixing things I used to ignore, rewiring, rebuilding. There was peace in that. Order. The kind you miss when your life's been flipped inside out. Melissa and I stayed in touch. She helped me set up a fund for veterans who'd been targeted by scams, people like me who served, saved, and trusted the wrong people. We started hosting monthly workshops, taught guys how to protect their assets, read between the lines in contracts, and spot the signs of a setup. Some of them asked me why I stayed so calm through everything, why I didn't lose it when Kelly and Nathan went after me like that. I told them the truth. When someone tries to steal your name, your future, your story, screaming doesn't save you. Strategy does. Kelly tried to walk out of our marriage with everything. My house, my money, my reputation. She wanted to erase me and rewrite the whole thing in her favor. But she made one mistake. She forgot who she married. The man she tried to betray had spent years gathering intelligence, listening closely, moving quietly. She thought she'd broken me. She didn't break me. She woke me up. The last I heard, Kelly was under investigation for tax fraud and wire conspiracy. Did I feel bad? Not really. You don't feel bad for wolves when they get caught pretending to be sheep. Now I drink my coffee on the back porch every morning, the same porch they once laughed on when they thought I wasn't watching. I look out over the land I built, the home they tried to steal. And I say one thing, every single time. You tried to take everything. I took it all back. Thank you for watching.